Okay, try to do this somewhat quickly. Um, Reasons why the Apostle Peter was not a pope. Um, there was there weren't any office of a pope in the times of the Bible. We don't have any written records, any documents by any of the apostles that anyone viewed Peter as a pope. Actually, Peter viewed himself as a fellow elder in 1 Peter 5:1. Um, when Paul wrote to the church in AD 55 to 57, it seems that Peter isn't there. Um, when Paul was in Rome writing the prison epistles, he didn't mention Peter. In fact, in 2 Timothy 4:16, that makes it clear that Peter was not in Rome, or possibly he maybe abandoned Paul. Paul said, "At my first defense, no one supported me, but all deserted me." That's a pretty bad charge against Peter if Peter was in Rome at that time. Paul said, "May it not be counted against them." Um, Paul told the apostles that the Holy Spirit made them overseers in Acts 20:28. Paul sees himself equal with Peter in Galatians chapter 2 verses 7, and in 2 Corinthians 11:5, Paul said, "I consider myself not in the least inferior to the most eminent apostles." So if anyone takes the view that Peter was bishop of Rome, but he was absent from the church most of the time, it seems strange that Peter never wrote to his own church, because we don't have any letter. Um, there's no evidence of a papacy in the New Testament. So that's in Ephesians chapter 2 verse 20, Paul calls the Lord the chief cornerstone of the church and built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets. So this kind of like somewhat doesn't seem like Peter had any special position. you know, according to Jesus, the vicar of Christ is the Holy Spirit. If you want to call him that, that's the Roman Catholic that Jesus left the Holy Spirit to us. So he's pretty much the God on earth, not the Pope. You could look for that in what Jesus said in John chapter 14 verses 16 to 17, and John chapter 14 verses 16 to 17, and John 16 verses 7 to 8. And that's another thing. The title Holy Father is used by Jesus in reference to God the Father in John 17:11. I think it's pretty blasphemous they call the Pope Holy Father. In Galatians chapter 2 verse 7, Paul said he has been entrusted with the gospel just as Peter had been. If you remember, Peter is publicly rebuked by Paul in Galatians 2:11 to 14. In Acts chapter 15, there's a council at Jerusalem, a church council, and James is directing the proceedings at the council. The early fathers, up to Gregory the Great, who died in 604, agree with Protestants in interpreting Matthew 16:18 as Peter not being a pope, including commentaries by Origen, Chrysostom, Hilary, Augustine, Cyril, and Theodoret. And actually, Augustine left it up to personal interpretation. As far as the rock is concerned, Jesus is called a rock in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 4. A lot of the information that I got this from is from a really good book that gets into this and a lot more. It's called The Roman Catholic Controversy by James R. White. Really good book. And to read many writings from early church fathers in reference to how they interpreted Matthew 16:18. There's a good book by William Webster. It's called The Matthew 16 Controversy, Peter and the Rock. So it's good to have.